I was the victim of a practical joke my freshman year in college, and I never really got over it. I think that's probably what set me on the course to being a brutal man whose sense of humor is given to flights of the bizarre. When I got to college, we were all in a dormitory with guys in different levels of, there were upperclassmen in there as well as a few of us freshmen. And they always singled out one freshman to brutalize by playing bingo. You ever play that game? It's where, what they do is they tell you that they play a game called bingo, and, you're stupid, you don't even know, you're 18, you're first there, you want to get into everybody, you want them to like you and everything, so they're saying, we're playing bingo, turn out the light. And I said, what's bingo? They say, well, we all 15 of us, we gather around, and we start enjoying Rosie with the lights out. And the first person to achieve Shangri-La yells, bingo! We turn on the lights, and that person doesn't have to buy any beer all weekend. Anything he wants. All the drinks are on the rest of us. We all chip in, and he is treated like a king. I said, really? Sounds a little wacko. He said, well, the lights are out, but the only time you turn them on is you just say, bingo! When you're achieving Shangri-La, we turn on the lights, and whoever's the first, that guy. I said, all right, I'm game. And they said, turn out the lights, so I dropped trowel, stupid guy that I was, and there I am sitting there. I can hear the other guys in the background going, ugh. I can hear it. I can hear buckles jangling. So, what did I know? I'm saying, stupid and happy. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I said, well, I got to win. I got to show these guys that I'm the toughest. Wow. 1, 2, 3, 4. So sure enough, Imagine my shock and horror when the lights came on and the flash bulbs popped and I was the only one enjoying Rosie. Everybody else was completely dressed, pointing and laughing at me. Laughing at me! That's when I resolved to get even. To get even! They all had a good laugh. I said, don't forget to grind it into the carpet when you're done, huh? They all went back to their rooms. Everybody said, you imagine that schmuck? We always get somebody every year with that. Bingo! They even started calling me that. That was my nickname! I mean, it was bad enough they did it to me, but didn't have to always, that was my nickname, Bingo. If you look at the college directory, they always put sports, major, nickname. They put Bingo in my directory. Every time I went out with a girl, everybody'd say, hey, Bingo, how you doing? The girl would say, well, why do they call you Bingo? I'd say, yeah, just a nickname. And then somebody would whisper to her, hey, you want to tell me you're starting to drop this pants? They'd never respect me. I knew, though, that if I had done what I really wanted to do, load up a Wingmaster 870 with double-aught buck, they'd figure out who did it. They'd say, who has cause to blow all these guys away? Oh, Bingo must have done it. So I waited. I told myself I would wait 10 years because revenge is best when served cold. I waited 10 years. To May of 1982. 10 years from the day of graduation. By now, all the guys that brutalized me were all fanned out all over the country. But I kept track of them, reading my Ithaca College Quarterly. I found out who was where, because they put everything in little news notes. Joe Blow is on the Duro board of directors at Alcoa. Harry went off to be a doctor. Because whenever anybody does real well, they always write a note to the college so it gets in the directory. So I knew where every one of those scumbags was. Cleveland, Omaha, Washington, they all spread out. And it was great. I'd make an appointment under an assumed name. I remember the doctor. I saw him in his office. I sat across from the table. He didn't recognize me at first. I said, don't I look familiar? As I pulled that magnum out of my pocket. He said, why, you're... I said, bingo. And I watched as he lay splayed on his desk. One by one, I tracked them all down. the stockbroker. Hey, I can sell you short on some shares here. And don't you remember me? Why, yes, you're Bingo! Yeah, buddy. And I couldn't be tracked down either because, they were so far apart. Nobody could put any of the cases together. That's why I got away with it. That's why I got away with 15 murders! You hear me? 15 of them! I remember one of them. The guy was there with his wife. And I stood there with the gun there. He grabbed his chest. He dropped to his knees. I said, no. You're not going to die on me. His wife came running into the office. What's going on here? The guy had a heart attack. No vitals. I said, no, you're not going to die on me. And I started working there. I opened his shirt. I established an airway. I started giving him mouth-to-mouth. I remembered my CPR. I remembered my time on the recessor antidote. Until finally, yes, we had vitals. Yes, we had blood pressure. Yes, we had a pulse, rapid and bounding. Yes, we had the man conscious. Yes, we had him breathing. The wife said, oh, thank God, thank God. She ran out of the room to call an ambulance on the phone when she heard She came running back in and looked at him there with another hole between his eyes. She said, my God, why? Why? I walked out of there. I said, because he slipped me the tongue while I was giving him mouth-to-mouth. What do you think?